just not here. So
Exactly.
no, if anyone is like way over the top and out of line, then I just shut them up because I don't feel like allowing them the courtesy of inconveniencing the pixels on YouTube's data center for those few moments. If
Well,
that
I'm the
makes
same
sense.
way. I mean, there's certain comments you got to delete, right? When somebody posts a
Yeah.
comment that's like your entire home address and social security number and a link to create a credit card, you're like, I probably should delete that one. You know, it's like, but I'm a lot less critical than I used to be as far as deleting comments, for that very reason. That's why drama channels do so good. Why do you think drama videos do so good on YouTube? They all have massive dislikes. They all have like thousands of dislikes, and the reason why they do well is because you combine the likes and dislikes together, and that's a high percentage of the overall views.
I'm gonna look up what the rumors are right now on GTX 1080 Ti.
Still no official word, huh?
Well, NVIDIA is holding its event, its quote-unquote GDC event, which is not out of the norm. It's GDC, right? The end of this, beginning of next week, and I will be there. But it's a celebration of PC gaming event. So
can you tell me where it's being held, like the general area, or is that all hush hush?
Well, GDC's in San Francisco, and that's where the event.
It's GDC. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to know because I know that you got invited to some super squirrel meets too. Also, like, aren't you? Like,
I have not been invited to any private meetings.
You have not?
To
what was that one that you went to with NVIDIA that had like Dead Mouse playing and shit? What was that?
That was that was it was a press day. They called it a press day, but it was also like neighboring up against DreamHack in Austin, Texas. So it was at the same.
Wasn't that super hush hush though about like the location and when you knew where you were going and everything?
Up until we got our itinerary, yeah.
Yeah, because I remember you telling me that, it was one of those things where they weren't like really publicizing.
We just need you to get in this black car.
Yeah, you just get in the helicopter.
Plane.
You just get in there. You close your eyes. Didn't bring enough bags.
1080 Ti is supposed to be the final piece of the Pascal puzzle. My question is, how long is that puzzle going to be around? Because Pascal's been around for a while now. So here are the rumored specs for GTX 1080 Ti.
Ooh, rumored.
Now, I don't know anything about this because I wouldn't be talking about it if I was under NDA. So that's got to tell you something right there, right?
All right, fair enough. NVIDIA can't come after you and clip your nuts off. Let's go.
GP10, rumored to be a GP102 core, which is the same core that's on Titan X, 16 nanometer FinFET.
I would have expected that.
12 billion transistors, 471 millimeters squared for the chip size. Again, it's mirroring everything going down with Titan X. A base clock of 1503, which is higher than the Titan's 1417. A boost clock of 1623, which is higher than Titan's 1531. It's funny about that 1531. I forgot how massive my overclock was because I run mine at 2050 every day. So that's a 520 or 19. Is
that a common achievable overclock, or you just got God
on water? No, on water, yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Pascal overclocks like a boss. Okay, so
what is that? A 25% overclock? Is that what that is?
30. It's like a 30%.
30. Oh, Jesus.
Let's see. Pull up my calculator here. Yeah, 256 less CUDA cores, which pretty much is like exactly how it went with 980 Ti and Titan X Maxwell. So yeah, it's exactly the same across the board, except it's got 10 gigabytes of GDDR5X, and it is 256 CUDA cores less, at an anticipated $400 cheaper. Its launch price has a little asterisk next to it because they're just like, we don't know, $800.
So the speculation is basically everybody just cut all the numbers in half between a 1080 and a Titan, basically, and just said this is where it's probably going to sit.
No. What's 256 shaved off of 3524? Hold on.
Calculator time.
Like I can do that shit in my head.
We don't do math in our heads. Why we got into computers, goddammit?
Yeah, it's what is that? 19%? It's 19% less CUDA cores.
That's significant.
No, it's not.
19% is significant as shit. Are you kidding me?
Is that how my math is terrible here? Hold on.
19 is almost 20%. 20% is 1/5.
No.
The total cores.
I did wrong. I did bad.
Oh, you did it bad. Okay.
It's.
Don't you be telling me no 20% ain't significant, Jay.
7.1%. It's 7.1% less CUDA cores. And
trying to tell me 20% don't matter. Jeez, if you hey,
20%,
if your dick is 20% longer than everybody else in the locker room, you're the king. 20% matters. Okay, I'm gonna throw that out there. 20%. Sorry, that's the only analogy I can think of in my head.
Hobbs is in Skype, right?
Oh, I see him. Yeah.
Yeah, but he Skyped me right now. He was like because he was at DreamHack, so that's where I met him for the first time. No, the second time technically, because we met at PDX, right?
Right.
He was like, they literally had a giant bus that said NVIDIA for them to get on.
Yeah, he messaged me that too, and I was like, yeah, just get on the bus. Get on the bus. Well, was it even the right font, or was it just like a big banner off of like a DOS Matrix printer?
The charter buses that NVIDIA chartered, they had them custom wrapped in the NVIDIA like Pascal triangular green like design. So the buses were green and said NVIDIA all down the side of them. They were custom wrapped buses. It was pretty neat.
That's pretty cool. Somebody's getting triggered by me having different wallpapers, so I'm gonna fix this so they don't have an epileptic seizure.
You need to have like the badger dance happening on one. Oh my God, what are you doing over there?
Oh, it does a scan line first, and then it starts the matrix.
Oh, okay.
It like pre-populates the screen with some shadows, and then it starts.
So I was like, what? That and those aren't supposed to be vastly different.
That's different enough. At least you can't see the top screen. The top screen's got like this weird like event horizon thing going where the matrix
Let me tell you what we can see though. We can see the terrible off-axis viewing degradation though on those screens with that camera angle.
Oh yeah, no. These screens have to be like dead on point at your face. They're not IPS panels.
Yeah.
I mean, how much would it cost to get a freaking 54-inch IPS panel? It'd be expensive.
Why don't you have 3 OLEDs in there?
Because I can't afford it, Jay. I just spent $10,000 on a bed. I'm broke.
Dang it, I'm broke. You're broke?
Yep, that's all I had. I had to finance a bed.
I just spent more money than I wanted on equipment, but that's fun. At least it's fun.
Actually, I'm going to write it off as a business expense, too, because my fatigue has been the issue. I found the solution to my fatigue, so I bought it.
Tell me how that one goes.
Hey, I can do it. You watch me. You watch me. I'll leave you sleeping. I'll do a sleeping live stream. That's business.
I can't work without a happy ending massage every single week that I have to write off as business.
Write it off, dude.
Jeez.
You can.
All right, let's move forward. What's happening in the world of tech right now? Let's try and have a tech conversation. That's always boring.
Yeah. Wow.
Boring. The big announcement we made last week, obviously, about the show going on hiatus. We are looking at after this show, we got two more shows. Okay, I was kind of leaving everybody on a ledge because I honestly didn't know how many more you wanted to do. I could
kind
just
of
be
assumed
like,
today that when you were in the studio, I was like, oh, we're gonna quit it today. I thought today was. Gonna
Did that studio look ready to go to you?
That studio did not look ready. Well, for me, it would be.
Okay.
I mean, I just walk in there with my hand cam and sit in the corner and shoot a vlog. I'd be fine.
Your fetal depression vlog?
Yeah, that's all I do, Jay. Those are the only videos that get any views. So those are the ones I do now.
The fetal vlogs.
Yeah. I actually made a video right before this where I said I'm not making another depression video. I actually made a video saying I'm not going to do it because that's how often I do it. No, I don't.
So you've already lied.
No, no, I did. I did lie, but it's different now.
How is it different?
Jay, you wouldn't understand. You just wouldn't understand. It's different now because I'm older and I'm wiser and I'm fatter. And I'm going to get sleep now. I didn't have sleep deprived before, Jay. Sleep deprived.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, the sleep deprivation. See, I can't even speak words, just like you. The sleep deprivation prevented.
That's because of the drugs, not because.
It prevented me from. Actually, did I take anything today? Oh, I took my Adderall. Today. Actually, that should have fixed a lot of shit. The Adderall is supposed to make me smarter.
AMD ends Windows 8.1 32-bit support with the latest Radeon software release. Is that why so many people's Radeon systems were breaking? No, who still runs 32-bit operating system though? And if you do, why?
I think that most of the 32-bit stuff now is ran as virtual machines, and it's for legacy software. Because even though you're running 32-bit software in Windows, you're doing it on top of something called side-by-side assemblies and Windows on Windows, the WoW system. So if you run a native 32-bit operating system, that's your best environment for running 32-bit software, period, for legacy stuff. Newer stuff, it doesn't really matter, but for old stuff, it matters.
Intel spills the beans on the new Optane memory, saying it requires Kaby Lake. That's not a surprise, because it's a bit of an ecosystem that goes along with Kaby Lake. I actually was not able to go to the Optane event thingy. I had obligations.
Yeah, Intel's kind of getting... they're kind of in bed with Microsoft. I mean, they really are, because you see all the stuff talking about Windows 10 getting the most potential out of the next generation of hardware. You're going to start seeing that extend into everything more and more. What are you laughing at?
Is it just the headline? Bill Gates says my robots should pay taxes. I've gotta
Oh
read
God!
this.
Don't even.
Okay,
Oh, let's
what is
talk about
this?
that. That's a good one. That's a good
What is
one.
this?
Let's talk about that.
What is? I haven't read the article. What is it?
I'll explain it to you. Okay, so Bill Gates seems to think that since robots are replacing human jobs, like let's say assembly workers, and even in restaurants now, they're using like kiosks and automation, not just robots, automation in general. He wants basically businesses to pay taxes on those as if they were workers and at the salary that they'd normally be working for. So if you bought a robot for $500,000, now you have to assume that it's doing the work of a $50,000 a year position and pay taxes on that $50,000.
Okay, I understand that. I understand. Okay, I understand.
Here, tell me what you think.
Well, okay, let me put it this way. Being incorporated and an employee of my corporation and all that stuff, and also the CEO of the corporation, I get the unique perspective of being able to see how payroll and payroll taxes work from both perspectives, from both the employer and the employee.
Sure.
The employer, especially in the state of California, pays half of all payroll taxes, which are things like SSDI or short-term disability, workers' comp, all that sort of stuff. So actually, to be fair, the employer pays all workers' comp. But anyway, I pay half of the payroll taxes. So when you get a paycheck and you get to deal with those shitty deductions or those withholdings, right? The money that goes, okay, you made $1,000 this month or whatever, 250 of it goes to the government, right? And then that gets divvied up amongst all the programs. What really happened was, at least in the state of California, is the total taxes were $500. It's just the employer is responsible for paying half of those. So I feel that now. But I also understand that part of paying someone is a stimulation of the economy as well, right? What makes the world turn is money and the economy. And as an employee, you need money to live. If you don't have money to live, there's a breakdown of capitalism.
I'm with you so far. So far, you're making sense.
I also had to pay to build and put those robots in their place. Okay.
Yes, but that's my point.
Right.
My point
so I had
is
to pay
somebody had to build.
I had to pay taxes. If I'm the robot, the owner, the CEO of this robot army, I had to pay the taxes to put those robots into deployment.
That's right.
So why on earth should I have to and then pay the government?
And not only did you pay taxes, you paid however many hundreds of thousands of dollars it cost to buy that robot. Let me ask you, Jay.
Which kept those builders in business.
Let me ask you a question. When you hired Coconut Money,
Coconut Money, yeah,
that should be his rapper name. Your
Money.
rapper name is Coconut Money. When you hired Nick, did you hand him a check for $500,000, pay taxes on that, and then say, "Hey, Nick, we're gonna just go ahead and pay your taxes every year for as long as you live or as long as you work here"? Like, you wouldn't do that. That makes no sense. The only time that it makes sense is if you hire a robot. Let's say you don't buy a robot. Let's say you lease a robot. You're leasing the robot for whatever money you lease it for, then I can see paying income tax on the lease. But that's like as far as I would go. If you're buying the robot outright and the economy is being stimulated by the people that build and maintain those robots as the alternate jobs that are now replaced in the field where the robots are working, I don't see a problem. I don't see why you would pay taxes on that. The only thing I could see this doing is discouraging people from moving to automation because they make it prohibitively expensive. That's the only thing I could see coming of that.
Do you think a fair analogy of this is being like, you should have to pay additional taxes on your car because now the taxi driver doesn't get to give you a ride somewhere?
It kind of is. It's similar, right? It's similar. You're not using the taxi system. You're not using public transit. So now you got to pay tax. You kind of do already, though, Jay. Right? Your tabs and everything like that. We all do pay the tax one way or another. It seems really weird to be like Dexter behind me, right? You got Dexter arms sitting back here. I mean, am I gonna have to start paying on $25,000 a year because that's how much a happy ending goes for at the massage parlor? I don't know. Do I got to pay that taxes now because Dexter's doing it?
No, okay. When you're still the richest guy in the world, it's easy to be like, blah blah blah, should pay this, blah blah blah.
Right.
But my question is, how much money would he technically have to spend in all of the manufacturing robots that technically are robots that are working?
Shitloads, because the most automated industry in existence is software.
Unless the argument is a human could never do this job.
See, now I think that's a fair argument that should put it outside the boundaries. Like if you're using a robotic arm that's working in a nuclear core where a regular human would die, then you can't tax that thing like an employee because you couldn't hire an employee to do that job in the first place.
Do you have to carry workers' comp on said robot?
Apparently, yeah. If it catches fires, do you got to pay its reassembly bill?
Well, yeah, you do.
We start having, yeah, I know, right? We start having reassembly hospitals and stuff. It'll be just like Futurama. It's kind of a weird topic though, because it kind of opens up a can of worms if you do that, because it's not just robotic arms, it's automation in general. So even a kiosk, which is arguably your freaking computer that takes credit cards on the counter, why is that any different than if you just walk up to a fully automated computer that takes your credit card versus a human being hitting some buttons and taking your credit card?
Or like a lot of the places that have started replacing the tellers at fast food places with automated tellers taking your order, like McDonald's, because they were like, you want $15 an hour? Nope, this kiosk can do it for one upfront cost, and we don't need to hire you anymore.
Oh, you know what they're doing up here? I wonder if they're doing it down there too, where restaurants are retaliating now by putting the increased pay and as a new tax, like their own little fee that they're putting onto the bill. So now you get like a check, and it says, "Oh, ham sandwich, $5, 6% additional fee added for minimum wage hike." We're getting that up here now.
Yeah, I believe it, because that's what happens. Is I don't want to get too far off of the tech conversation, but
sure,
that's what happens. Is costs that are added onto a company because of legislation changes always gets passed on to the consumer. Always, it doesn't. The companies never pick up those costs of doing business that goes up.
Right.
So anyway, it was kind of neat though the first time I got to experience one of those McDonald's like self-order kiosk, and I couldn't understand it. I walked in, and this was the McDonald's by Disneyland a few months back, right? So it's pretty busy. Sure. I walk in, there's probably 30 people in line. There's like 4 cash registers that are open. That wouldn't take too long. But then I noticed behind, like where you more towards where the tables are, there's these 2 islands, and on either side of it, there's a little order kiosk, it almost looks like a big giant like TV that's vertical, and it's all touchscreen, right? And there's 4 of them, 1 on each side, so there's a total of 4. And I'm going, it says order here, and I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at the people in line, and I'm looking at that, and I'm going, why is nobody using these? Maybe they're not working. So I went over there and was like, push start, and it's like, oh, pick your, because McDonald's now doesn't have like, you know, they still have the Big Mac meal and stuff, but it's more or less like artisan sandwiches now, so you can kind of like pick the toppings and stuff you want on it.
Yep.
So I was just like, let's see, I need 2 chicken nugget kids meals, okay. Let's see, the wife wants a chicken sandwich, boom, 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 done, boom, 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 done. I want this drink, I want this size. Grab a number, like next to it there's a number, right? You have to see the number and tell it what number it is. I pick the number, put the number in, like it's like, please pay. I put the card in, and then I'm just like, probably 60 seconds. And then I look around and I'm going, I just ordered, and nobody in line has moved. Why are you people not using this? I literally turned around to the person standing in line. I was like, kind of makes you wonder why no one's using this, huh? Yep. He's like, ugh, just kind of like mumbles at me, right? So then I go and sit down. Literally, my food is at the table within 4 minutes, and everyone is still standing in line.
You know, so as well as Starbucks is the same way, right? You use the little app, and you pull up, and it's like your drink's sitting there where there's like 100 other people still trying to order.
But my question literally is, why was no one using this? And I'm thinking, well, maybe they're paying cash, right? And I watched when I was sitting there, because I was fascinated by this machine, because we had talked about it on Tech Talk before, that these things were taking the places of people complaining about minimum wage. And I'm watching it, like the first 3 people that went to pay all pulled out their ATM card. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people?
I think people just are oblivious to this technology. They're so used to just ordering from a human being. And the funny thing is, the human being is like 50% fallible.
The thing was, like the print, the text was small and the pictures were big. I mean, literally, like an ape could order from this thing. Like, Harambe himself could have ordered his own sandwich. He could be like, ugh, and just like point at this picture and touch the picture for all the toppings and just be like, ugh, and done. You don't even have to be able to speak like English, and it would transcend any language barrier because.
Wait, are we talking alive Harambe or after Harambe?
Even now, he could. Okay,
that easy.
That's how easy it was.
Fair enough.
But I was thinking to myself, I was completely, I could not come up with an answer as to why no one was using it. I personally,
it makes no sense to me.
Look, as a misanthrope myself, I personally appreciated the lack of human interaction. Okay, I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, the thing, this is another thing too, is I think it almost might be a cultural thing, because I've gone into grocery stores before where they have the checkout, self checkout, where it's like just walk over, scan your 2 items, get out, and yet you still see people, they have 2 cans of like, 2 cans of soup in a little handheld basket, and they're waiting in a line of like 8 people, and there's like nobody over at the self checkout area.
Yeah.
I think people are just afraid of technology still. Like there's still that generation looming around that just isn't quite sure about it yet.
Like for instance, like Lowe's, not so much Home Depot, but Lowe's has those self-checkout counters now, right?
Yep.
The last 2 times or so I went to Lowe's with Nick, the like company managed registers for checkout were all closed. The only thing open was the self checkout with a person standing there, one, to make sure you didn't steal shit, and two, and help you if you got stuck. It was
Yeah,
pretty
and
funny.
it makes sense because you don't have to pay anybody to operate that stuff. Everybody just like
Yeah.
moves on through. It's like cattle.
Well,
Ugh.
I'm perfectly okay with the argument of if you feel that you're worth more than you're getting, then by all means we'll let technology take your space.
And if you're worried about automation taking your job, then
You
go
should
get
be.
a job making the automation. Yeah, you should be first and foremost. Hey, I'll be honest. I'm out of a job because of automation myself.
You programmed your replacement.
I programmed my replacement. I quite literally
you
did.
and I talked
created-
about that because you were a
Yeah.
testing automation engineer, and you spent
Yeah.
so many years building testing automation that inevitably replaced you. And look how
The
well
last-
it's working.
yep.
Look how well it's working, Jerry.
I know. The last 5 years of my career were spent architecting, designing, and building Drive UI, which is still in use today, running the 5,000 scenarios that we used to run manually.
I don't think you caught my tone there. Look how well it's working, Jerry.
Oh, shitty. Okay, fair enough.
I guess we know what level of work you provided.
I'll give you that. Hey, it worked great when I was around to keep fixing it. See, exactly my point. You still need a human being to service the automation. It's not going to just work autonomously
You
forever.
program in these trigger fails.
I did. I put a thing in there that said if my email address stops registering in the Active Directory, then just shut down and start throwing random exceptions. Actually, that would have been genius. I should
Just shut
that
down
would
and
have been
start.
hilarious.
Shut down and start demanding more money.
Dude, that'd be great. Why didn't I do that? I should have put a module in all my code that literally just said, if my name doesn't resolve in Active Directory, then go ahead and just stop working. Just exit.
Would it have tied into it?
It would have. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, no, all the computers at Microsoft, including them, because they keep intellectual property secure, all the machines have to be encrypted, and they all have to be encrypted and connected to Active Directory, the domain controller.
That's
at
exactly
Microsoft.
how our systems were set up.
Yeah, so
Because
I could have totally done that.
we were dealing with millions of client or millions of customer client data because remember we wrote software for the power companies.
Yeah.
So we had to have the same level of encryption, and we used Active Directory and all that stuff too.
But you know as well as I that you're only as secure as your weakest link. And the funny thing at Microsoft
which is the IT ops department.
Yeah, no, it was. No, you're not even kidding. You're not, no kidding, because we had this thing called Windows Testing Technology, which is basically the automation harness that you'd say, hey, go run some shit on a computer. It would pick the computer at random from some enterprise, run that met your requirements, run the shit, and then give you back the results, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that we called them lights out labs that would do this. Well, they gave us this thing that was because we were like, we need a level of permission to play with the source code, the Windows source code. So
Right.
they actually created a lab account and gave it access to the source code that we could then run jobs through the automated system to interact with that source code. So somebody wrote a job that just literally ran on the computer, accessed the source code, downloaded it all, pushed it out to another share, and then put it on his hard drive.
Jeez.
And the funny thing is they fingerprint the source code from whoever touches it so that they know, if a copy gets out in the wild, who it belongs to. Guess who
Yeah.
the code belonged to?
You.
The lab account.
Oh.
Not me, nobody. The lab account. It's untraceable.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So now all these leaked builds that are all over the place on Usenet and everything, they go and try to look at the fingerprint to figure out which employee done fucked up, and it says it's the lab account. So they got nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the kind of dumb shit I had to deal with when I worked there.
Zombie Slayer 07 says dropping frames like a boss. Hey, but I haven't dropped a single frame yet tonight. Not a single frame.
Same thing happens when I was the whole weekend when I was streaming on Twitch. Guys, actually, that's another thing I want to talk about really quick. I am starting routine live stream. The schedule will be up next week. I had a blast streaming. For once, I went to PDX Land and I streamed my ass off and had a blast. Jay, you need to get back to streaming on Twitch.
I don't wanna.
You should.
I don't wanna.
It's fun because you can do this whole thing with bits
No, I
cups
ha-
where,
I
like
ha-
little bits rain down.
Maybe I will from the studio with the baller internet, but not this
There you
internet.
go. Yeah, no, you can't do shit with this internet. This internet has failed you.
Let's see here. I'm gonna start reading some of the donation comments. That way, I don't. I want to get out of here right at 6:30. I want to kick my shoes off. They're already off. I want to keep my feet up. Let's see. Oh, and guys, I did tour the studio today. Today was the official move-out date for the current tenant. Place is emptied, and I did my walkthrough, so we got to see what stuff needs to be done and prep for me moving in. So it's happening. We are so close, and I sent pictures to Nick. He got to see it.
I got to
Jerry
see it.
got to see it. What did you think, without saying anything to give it away? Like
It's
what it is?
badass. It's way bigger than I thought it would be, honestly. So
It's
I'll
two,
say that.
It's 2 levels with a balcony.
Yeah. It looks cool
pretty
too. It actually it's very industrial. I
yeah.
thought it was going to be like an apartment, like a house apartment or something. No, it's very industrial. I like it.
Well, it's a loft. It's an industrial style loft with exposed rafters and all that stuff. That building was built in the 30s, and it used to
Oh,
be
wow.
it used to be a manufacturing facility that about 10 years ago, maybe it's more like 15 years ago, was bought and renovated to be a very industrial retail center.
That's really cool.
So
It looks good.
there's a lot of
way-
like rusticness, if you will.
Yeah, the floor was cool. I like the
It's
floor. I won't say
polished
anything,
concrete.
but it was. Well, you see, now you just gave it away, Jay.
I already
You're not
said
giving
that
away
though.
any
I said that
details.
before. It's polished
No,
concrete.
you didn't. It's nice. It's nice. Is there a lot of echo in there that you're gonna have to knock down?
There is a ton of echo. But
Okay,
that's
so
why
you're
I'm
gonna-
going to be strategically doing wall treatment as well as having. That's why I have my hypercardioid mic to help at least get a lot of that out. But
I'm
of course,
curious
with
to see if you can knock most of that down though. Just putting like in a couple bass traps and some strategically placed sound tiles.
What's more important is where I'm facing, and I will be facing more out into the open high ceiling area, which will help a little bit. Right now, a lot of the echo in there is from the bare concrete floors with nothing on them, no carpet, nothing on the walls. So I'll do the best I can with it. It won't be too bad.
Are you gonna try to shoot with natural light, or are you gonna do all?
No,
all
it's
controlled
artificial light for sure.
Light? Okay.
Yeah. No, I don't. I'm not. I'm not going to rely on natural light because it's always changing. Especially this winter, we've had so much more storms and stuff than expected. Okay,
Well, I've got 6 donations. So you read yours, I'll read mine, and then we'll just soldier on.
there's quite a bit more than 6 on.
So that's what people love you. They don't
It'll
like me.
take- No, I feel like.
I say curse words and talk about dicks and stuff. And they don't like it.
Look, last week there was a lot of emails of people saying that some of the anonymous donations were because they were like, we want to entice you to stay. Guys, the donations don't entice me to stay. They sure as hell help, but we don't do the live stream for the donations. We really don't. People are going to say we do. Whatever. If you don't know us.
Well, actually, no, Jay, I have to change my flip. I am doing the live stream now for the donations because I need to pay for the expensive ass bed that I went and bought.
Oh, well, you
Yeah.
might want,
So,
to actually seek some sponsorship, dude.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying.
Big
There we
Mike,
go.
Big Mike says, love the channel, Jay. Looking to do a first build in 9 years. Love your practice test bench build. Would that be a practical for every user? Open benches like that have a dust issue. Obviously, all the dust can just freely fall on the system. 2, there's no fans blowing over your motherboard. You have to get some sort of a swivel arm or something with a fan on it to direct airflow where it needs to be. A lot of people do open test benches now just because they're neat and they're different. I mean, I don't see any
You know
reason
what
why
would be
not.
cool? Why not just take one of those test benches and just put some standoffs on it and put a piece of plexi over the top so you can direct some airflow through it, keep some of the dust off, and then just magnetic, just pop it off.
Well, Lian Lee has a brand new test bench that's just like that. It actually has a top that can be put on and taken off.
That's cool. I would go for something like that.
Yeah. I'm supposed to do a review of that. It's just I put all of the new review requests on hold until after moving to the studio. Today I got the new storage units too because I've got to deal with getting the shop in order and getting things set up in storage. Then we're moving into the studio in about 2 weeks.
Don't mess around.
I can't mess around. I'm trying to mess around. What are you talking about?
Don't mess around. This guy's real deal.
Okay, Earl Sanders says, "Hey Jay, love your work and congrats on the new shop. Jerry, is that a MG10XU that does allow you to mix reverb into the mix? Keep up the good work,
Yes.
guys."
Yes, it does.
William P says, "Glad to finally caught a live stream. Thanks for Verizon Unlimited Data. Yeah, I just got the unlimited data plan too. Was really sad I missed the Willow Springs track day since I only live 3 miles from here. I'll be back at Willow again. I
Yeah,
love
Jay's gonna have like sponsored NASCAR by the end of the year for free.
Streets of Willow is so much fun.
You're gonna see Jay's 2 cents on the Marlboro car. Out of Talladega. You just wait, Jay.
No, I had this idea of having a YouTube-sponsored race team. Not YouTube-sponsored, but YouTube being the platform that the racing team gets the exposure on, and having it be one of the first like fully YouTube-powered race teams. That's something I'm working on.
That'd be cool.
And I don't want to be the driver. No, of course not. So
Right.
John McMillan says, "Hey Jay, have the Enthu Lux TG. Was curious if I put a 240 rad on the bottom instead of the front, would it be a bad spot for it? Would like to keep the 2 intake fans on the front free for more airflow. 360 rad at the top, 120. So I don't think there's a reason to add a 120 in the back. Personally, if you're going to be having a 360 and a 240, even if you're running
Lot of rad.
SLI. So yeah, put it on the front. There shouldn't be any issue with it on the front. You could put it on the floor, depending on how, if it's on carpet or on a desk, you might choke off some of that airflow. Look, I have a video where I talk about front-mounted rads do not really negatively affect the system at all. I even used a air temperature sensor, measuring the temperature of the air entering the PC in the front, and then measuring the air exiting the PC out the back after going with an overclocked CPU on water, doing stress testing, and the temperatures were negligible. So just put it on the front and make it easier on you. Put it on the floor, it'll be harder because of PSU and cables and all that stuff. Not to mention that means the rad is probably going to be lower than your pump, which is going to make it even harder to bleed the system over time. Wolfgang Iceclaw? Wolfgang Iceclaw? Watch him be like, don't say my name. Let's see.
I am Russian hitman. You not say my name.
When I'm sitting here going like, I'm kind of skimming to make sure they're not like, don't read my name, which we always end up reading their name. I apologize. For the first time, I've been able to watch you guys live. Here's $30. Thank you. Curses for getting me back into water cooling. I have cost you much more than $30.
Jay has cost a lot of people a lot of money.
A lot of people cost me a lot of money too.
Hey, come to me. I'll tell you about the air cooling. It's cheaper. Work longer. Much better.
Hold your tongue. Okay. The last time I water cooled was back when we had to use fountain and fish tank parts with my Athlon 64FX and GeForce 6800. That ended in disaster when the CPU block leaked, frying my CPU Mobo and GPU.
And it always did. Every last one of those damn things did.
That's back when Danger Den was a big player.
Yep.
Let's see. Your videos and kits from EK have convinced me to take my brave pill and try again. Keep up the good work and good luck with it. Dude, we've come a long way since the reliability is way
Non-conductive coolants, better pumps, better seals, better materials.
But don't buy into non-conductive coolants because they
Do they really? Just
well,
for picking up minerals and stuff in the loop?
Well, they pick up ions from the metals because they're constantly touching metals, especially different kinds of metals, different grades of copper, nickel plating, stuff like that. All the non-conductive coolants do pick up some degree of conductivity.
Still safer than not, though, really. I mean, like
Only
at least
until
for
it's picked
initial
up.
testing.
Only until it's picked up conductivity again, and how long that takes really depends on a lot of
That's
factors.
true. You really don't know, right? You really don't. So.
Let's see. Hazelbacker says, I put together a build in the Corsair Bulldog 2.0 for a HTPC VR rig. If you guys don't know, it's a very like stereo receiver shaped type of system.
Yep.
After finishing, I plugged it into the wall, and before pushing the power button, it tripped the breakers in my house. I tried it in another part of the house.
Well, it's definitely a PSUSU because they don't make a PSU that's big enough to pop a breaker all by itself, right?
It would have to be. There's no way you could. Everything's keyed now. There's no way you could have plugged anything wrong into the power supply. And not only that, most of the stuff like PCI Express power, power aren't going to do anything until the breaker inside of, or the relay inside of the PSU trips to turn it on. If it's popping the second you're plugging it in, that's a bad PSU. But there's something you need to check. He didn't say which power supply he's using, and some of them are dual regional compliant, where there's a switch on the back where you can switch it from 120 to 240.
Yeah.
Some of the older PSUs used to have that. Make sure that if you have a switchable voltage on the back, that you have it on the proper one for wherever you go. That's a big deal.
I certainly pop the breaker if he's going 220 down to 110. Where is he? Is he United States or?
He doesn't say.
Oh, okay. Well, the thing is that power supply should not be pulling its full one, even if it was, let's say, like a 1500 watt or something. It should not be pulling its full power.
True.
Initially, when you flip it on, so that tells me that something probably in the power supply shorted out.
No, he's not even saying when he flips it on. He's saying when he plugs it into the wall.
Oh shit!
That's
so like
that's
before
gotta be a short.
That's a short. Because until you actually trip the power supply to kick over, it's pulling a very nominal voltage, just enough to power the loop, the mechanism to short to fire it up.
Right.
So yeah, that's bad. I wouldn't use that.
I'm curious as to what PSU he has, honestly.
Oh, one other thing he could try too is make sure he doesn't plug it into an outlet that has a GFI. You know those little outlets that have the reset brake button on them?
Mm-hmm.
They're hypersensitive to AC/DC voltage conversion. I found this out with my soldering iron. Just make sure that if you plug it in, it pops the breaker, and when you're saying breaker, you mean the GFI. Put it on a different circuit that's not on a GFI. Some houses now, for some reason,
That's
they put GFIs on everything.
Well,
like the new houses, they all have them.
Yeah, this house here was built in 2004. Of course, the bathrooms all have it. That's code. That's required.
Yeah, the bathrooms have to, so you don't die when you get in the bathtub with the toaster.
Hobbs said that it came across as a USD donation. All of my garages have it too. All of my garage plugs for some reason. And what's funny is the one in my shop. You've seen the layout of my house, okay?
I have.
The one in my shop that I have the PC plugged into there, every now and then trips, and I don't know why. But the GRC or whatever, what's the name of the circuit? I can't remember. The little built-in trick.
Oh, it's No, you're right. It's GC.
Anyway, the
GRC.
built-in,
No,
the built-in,
it's something like that. G. Damn it! I know this. GFI.
GFI.
Thank you. Man, so many acronyms.
So the one that controls the plug where the PC's plugged into in the shop is in the garage in front of Nizzy, like on the wall where you hung the jersey after our ride.
Yep.
That's weird. They're so far apart. So when that
Yeah.
plug, the first time that plug tripped when we moved in here, and I had no idea why, had to call an electrician to come and figure it out. He picked it up right away. I was like, how the hell did you figure out that was wired in over here to this? And what's funny is he was like, I can see the yellow light from over here.
Yeah, we have a GFI in the kitchen. All the outlets in the kitchen are on it, but on the other side of the bar, the outlet
GFCI.
and the outlet was it?
GFCI.
GFCI. Okay, all the way across the way, there's another outlet on the wall. So 4 outlets are connected to this thing. So I plug in my soldering iron, out in the living room, and it pops, and I can hear it trip the thing. And the kitchen, I'm like, holy shit! I can't believe they put all this stuff on that little breaker. It's annoying.
I just find it funny though that this one's on the opposite end of the house, like
Yeah.
complete opposite end.
And they're super sensitive to high startup voltage. That's like what happens if you plug in anything like hair dryers are okay because they build the hair dryer to have a little capacitor in it so it doesn't do that initial crazy draw.
Yeah.
But yeah, you plug like a space heater in it, you like turn up to 1500, hit the switch, pops the damn thing every time.
Well,
They're too
I mean,
sensitive.
again, the second he plugs it in shouldn't pop it though. I mean,
No.
startup voltage maybe for starting the PC, but yeah, I would start with a new PC.
And if it's
on that one.
popping an actual breaker in the box, those things take a lot. You have to go significantly over the rated voltage to pop those things.
If it's in the US, it's probably going to be a 15 amp.
I actually crept up to 2100 watts on a 15 amp breaker, which is overrated spec. And
Yeah.
because I ramped the power up slowly, it did not triple.
That's dangerous.
It's very dangerous because the wire in the wall is heating up the whole time, and I was fully aware of this. But I'm just saying the breakers, they're designed to save against like an obnoxious startup voltage. Yeah. Short. It's a short. I think we're gonna say it's a short.
Stump PC says I pre-ordered an 1800X and I'm happy to swap it into my build, replacing the FX 8350 and 990 Mobo. Get it set up today. Get it set up to debut as one of my first builds on my channel. He said debut. It's actually debut as one of the first builds on your channel. Good, man. That's gonna be a huge jump from your 8350. Jeez, that's good. You aren't gonna know what to do with yourself though. Notepad do text. Notepad do text. Whatever. First of all, keep doing what you do, Jay. All the haters are just jealous. Well, I wouldn't say all of them, but definitely some. I currently have my 4790. Yeah, I know you are. I currently have my 4790K stable at 12.8. It's higher than I could get mine, by the way, at 1.32 volts. I have recently read some people trying to keep them under 1.3 and was wondering if that's too high of a V-core for Delta Canyon. I would say 1.35 is where you want to stable up. So I think you're good there at 1.32, man. Patrick Armstrong says, Jay, I know you hate it when you actually got cards that aren't out yet, but would you recommend buying a 1080 now, even with the possibility of a 1080 Ti coming out soon? Jerry, I love all the videos. Recently, keep it up. My dad works for Microsoft, and he says everyone in his building, Treasury, that Windows 10 sucks. As well, everyone hates the IT department.
Tell your dad to steal as many reams of paper out of the office supply room as possible and stockpile them, and that'll be like his retirement. I'm not saying
I would not recommend buying a T8 1080 now, because I have to assume when the 1080 Ti launches that there's going to be a small shift in price downward across the board, at least for the 1070 and 1080. Guaranteed to 1080, maybe not so much for 1070. But how would you feel right now if you paid $700 for a 1080? Or
I would be mad.
$689 or whatever, and then the new price is $599.
I would be mad because this shit happens to me more than any other person on planet Earth. Like the fact that I bought this iPhone 7 the other day, I guarantee the iPhone 8 is going to come out in like 4 days.
Look, if the new 1080 Ti is going to come out, it's going to be at Nvidia's new event. Event happening at EDC. It's going to be within a week.
True.
Just wait. Just wait.
Because they'll have to announce it. It's not like it's gonna just like start showing up in store shelves and they're gonna be like, haha, we really fooled those guys.
And they are going to announce what's going to happen with pricing.
Yeah.
Because that's exactly what they did with the 700 series and the 900 series when they did the very same thing. They announced the new product and then the new price lineup.
So maybe wait for GDC, and then if they don't announce anything, figure it's a fair bet to just buy the 1080.
If they don't announce anything, then I wouldn't
Buy the
say there's
1080.
anything left to wait for.
Yep, and the 1080 is badass. Even by today's standards, the 1080 is still a monster card.
Let's see. Nick Price says, "Hey Jay, I just started watching you a couple months ago. Love what you're doing. As an ad block user who's watched a shit ton of your videos, I want to support your channel." Wow, $50 donation. You just supported for like 10
Damn,
years.
son.
He just paid like 10 years worth of views.
Yeah, I
right
think
there.
50 bucks about 10 to 15 years of hard video watching right there. Good job.
Sad to see the 10th Tech Talk ending hiatusing, but excited to see what's coming next with the new studio. Thanks to you, I'm
Yeah.
planning to water cool my 6700K later this year. First time ever doing water cooling. Question: I have the funds available, feeling like I shouldn't skimp on parts here and pay a quality PK and bits power. Is the thinking sound here, or should I not be spending as much? Looking at $600 so far. I would say water cooling is going to be as safe as the quality of the parts that you use.
Don't cheap out on water. I did then. That's the problem.
If you
I bought
stay
the
with-
cheapest hose and it was like deteriorating in the liquid.
Look, if you stay with the brands that specialize in water cooling, and they are the main players, EK, Bits Power, Primo Chill, XSPC starts to move down the line a little bit in terms of quality compared to the brands that I just mentioned. Swift Tech being a little bit lower even, but as long as you stay with like not eBay knockoff type parts, unbranded parts, then you're going to have a much better chance of being leak free than if you went like, look, this fitting's only $3 on eBay versus paying. Look, Bits Power has a premium price in their fittings, 10, 15 bucks a fitting. That's expensive. Okay, you could spend. You know how much the fittings cost in the Skunkworks alone? Like $300 in fittings. The
That was the
glass-
most expensive part of my whole build back when I did it.
Look, the glass build that I did for the Nano S build that has elbows plus fittings in every single bend, that was like $450 in fittings alone. Ridiculous. But you get what you pay for, and the quality's there on those. So I would not skip on that.
Don't skimp, and for the love of God, please test without any components in the system first.
No, you can test it. You can test it with components in the system. Just put paper towels and stuff anywhere there's a fitting, so you can try and soak up any sort of leaks. And use one of the jumpers. You can even use a paper clip, putting the green wire in the black wire, or look at the pinout to determine which ones those are if they're not colored power supply, or just pay the $2 or whatever it costs to get the jumper, and power on the power supply, powering the pump, but not plugged into any of the components, and you can run your system that way and make sure it's not leaking. That's how I do it.
Yeah, I actually
anyway.
just bought one of those little like $5 plug into your ATX connector on/off switches. But you're right, you can just jump
$5?
over the-
Good Lord, you overpaid.
Well, I think I got like 6 of them. It was like a bag of them for Bitcoin
Oh.
for Bitcoin stuff.
Yeah.
So, because the Bitcoin miners run off of power supplies, but they don't have the trigger for the ATX.
I
so
said
you
in
have
one
to
of
do
my
something.
videos that you could get it for like $2, and everyone told me, "Good Lord, that's expensive compared to a paper clip." The problem with the paper